Welcome to the shower suite on the Emirates A380 in first class. If you're like me, you've probably watched way too many Emirates A380 first class videos, but don't click away because this will be different. We're just going to talk about the 5 things that surprised me most on my Emirates A380 first class flight. All right, let's start with the first surprise, the ground experience in Dubai. When walking into the first and business class terminal, it feels exactly as you'd hope it would. There's this calm little first class area off to the left where they immediately offer you water and dates, and the whole check-in process is so fast and personal that I barely even had time about trying to film a little bit without feeling too awkward. It absolutely felt first class, but just in a very quick, efficient way. What I didn't expect though is immediately after just how normal airport security felt. You've got all these plush premium seats leading up to this, but then only 2 lanes and actually a proper line to wait for a few minutes. Not terrible by any stretch, but not the glide through like royalty experience that I had imagined from the other videos. And then there's the lounge situation. I was directed to the first class lounge in Concourse C, which is really more like a very nice restaurant, but not really the huge over-the-top first class lounge that you get in Concourse B. So I was a little bit surprised that no one suggested, hey, you know, if you've got time, you might want to head over to B. That's the big one. Luckily, I figured this out myself and got the full experience, even if it did mean a little bit more walking. The real standout at both lounges, and what made the whole ground experience feel super special, was the food. Even at 5:30 in the morning, I was ordering proper restaurant food off the all-day lunch menu, having incredible beef at an hour where my body had absolutely no idea what meal it was supposed to be. The yogurt and granola that I had after were strangely delicious. And of course I had to have dessert after having what was technically breakfast. So it was sort of this strange mix, food that massively exceeded my expectations, wrapped in an airport process that felt a little bit more ordinary than I had built up in my head. Surprise number 2 was the seat itself. I have seen this suite so many times in videos that I thought there was no way it could still impress me. But sitting in that seat, it genuinely feels more comfortable than I expected. It absolutely hits that sweet spot of being supportive without being rock hard and being soft without feeling like you're sinking into a beanbag chair. I also loved having the 2 little individual air vents built right into the seat next to me and not having it firing down from above, or in some seats these days being completely absent. Privacy is also even better than I expected. Yes, the door doesn't go all the way to the ceiling, but in reality someone would really have to peer over and into your space. Once the doors are closed, it feels like your own little hotel room with a seatbelt. The massive screen is also not just even bigger in real life than I expected, but it's also a touch screen, which somehow I never noticed in the other reviews. And the tail and belly cams are so wonderful that I found myself just watching the outside world instead of exploring the movie selection. I walked away thinking the hype is actually justified. The seat really is that good. And I didn't expect that. Surprise number 3 is just how quiet the A380 is, especially up in first class. People always say that the A380 is a quiet airplane, and I've flown it before at Emirates, right at the very back of economy. And back there, any reduction in engine noise gets completely drowned out by hundreds of humans existing in the same small place. Up in first class though, it's a totally different experience. You can take off your noise canceling headphones and you're left with this gentle background hum that almost just fades away. Talking to the crew feels like having a conversation, maybe over the typical noise in a cafe rather than shouting over an engine. On a shorter hop like this one from Dubai to Nice, it's really just a pleasant surprise. But where I think it would really shine is on those ultra long haul flights from Dubai to places like Australia or even North America. Not having to clamp headphones over your ears for half a day and still being able to relax and sleep in relative quiet. That is the kind of hidden benefit that you don't really appreciate until you're sitting there and realizing, oh, this is peaceful. Surprise number 4 was the bar, or more specifically, how empty it was. One of the big selling points of the Emirates A380 is that iconic bar at the back of business class. Going in, I assumed that it would be packed the whole way because business and first on this daytime flight were at least 80% full. Instead, it was basically my own personal living room at 40,000 feet. I am not a huge drinker, so I was not working my way through the entire bar selection. But I ended up more so in a bit of a flying cafe with espresso and cappuccinos and biscotti. Just sitting on the couch with a drink like that, reading, chatting a bit with the crew. And the best part though wasn't even the coffee and the snacks. It was just how when you've got such an open space all to yourself, it really doesn't even feel like you're on an airplane at all. And being able to come out of the privacy of your suite into this incredible open area, this was probably one of the nicest, most unexpected parts of the whole experience. And finally, surprise number 5, the shower and the sign on the door. Everybody knows about the A380 shower at this point. The bathroom is enormous, and stepping into a shower while you're cruising above the clouds really is as surreal as the other videos make it look. I was pleasantly surprised by how it exceeded my super high expectations. What I had never heard anyone talk about was this tiny detail of the sign on the door. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.